Hey everyone, the info from part 3 of Fate recently dropped and we finally gotten the kit info for both Chloe and Saber Alter. The update should be live by the time I upload this, but it'll be at around 5 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. Jumping straight into it though, I'll start with Chloe. She's a fire type and her slots are a 6-star physical, 5-star support, and 4-star support or physical. Very good slots, they're good in nearly every situation. For her skill, it has an 11-second CT, and for 8 seconds, it lowers the enemy's evasion rate by 20%. And it does 1000 break. Kinda meh, nothing too special. For her arts, it does 16,000 fire damage physical, and for 35 seconds, it lowers the enemy's break resist by 40%, and has 3000 break. This is a pretty strong debuff, and it lasting 35 seconds means it won't need to be refreshed often. Really nice to increase the team's break. For her true arts, it does 35,000 fire damage physical, and for 20 seconds, it increases all allies' arts by 5 a second, and increases their break power by 70%. It does 6,000 break, and the archgen is type E. Very interesting true art for sure. This will definitely make a big difference for the team's break, and it'll allow the team to flow with archgen while breaking much faster. The 6,000 break is also quite high, and it will definitely help to make an effect on the break bar. For her super arts, it does 100,000 fire damage physical, and for 20 seconds it reduces the enemy's fire resist by 100%, and it has 12,000 break. This is quite the super art for sure. The damage is pretty okay, although she's not a DPS, so that doesn't matter. The fire resist down is also really strong, although it's weird since it means that she'd want to deal with fire units, although nothing else in her kit is really benefiting fire units, so it's almost like it's meant to increase her own damage. But anyways, the most important thing is the 12,000 break. It's an insanely strong break value. Using this will 100% deal a noticeable effect on the break bar. Alternating her true art and super art will make easy work of nearly every big break bar in the game. For her abilities, she increases all allies' arts by 200 in break, gets 70% burn resist, and gives all allies 50% damage in break. The 200% AoE arts in break is very good. It would mean that you don't need to worry about saving your true art until break, allowing you to pretty much nuke once you enter it. The burn resist is whatever, although the 50% AoE break damage is pretty nice. Although it's really not as strong as Strength's AoE damage in break. She also has a true weapon, a 5-star physical with a 55-second CT, and it does 4,000 fire damage physical. It increases arts by 50 the first use and does 4,000 break. Pretty okay, although after the first use, it not having an effect is weird, although the break value is pretty good, but it's not the highest. The passives include 40% break power and 2 arts a second one on Chloe, and 5% physical resist. A really nice break power buff, and the 2 arts a second is strong. It'll increase Chloe's break power to a total of 110%. Pretty good overall, but I think I'd still prefer Ganon's true weapon, since it gives 100% break as well as passive AoE break. Overall, she's an interesting one, a breaker that can archgen. Definitely going to be useful in stages needing breaks since she can provide the 2 roles of archgenning and breaking. But if I'm being honest, I'd still prefer breakers such as Duke, Platina, or even Strength. Chloe can of course archgen, but we'll have to see how she does. Definitely not game breaking, at least I think. Moving on to Saber Alter, she's a dark type, has a 6-star physical, 5-star defense, and 4-star physical or defense. Pretty good to be honest, although her being a DPS, the defense slot is interesting, although very good for endgame content needing a defense slot. Her skill has an 11-second CT, increases arts by 50, and if it crits, it's 80 instead. This is an insanely strong skill. It gives 4.5 arts a second at its lowest, and 7.2 arts a second at its best. Definitely the highest arts on skill in the game. It's really going to be a game changer for her archgen. For her arts, it does 26,000 dark damage physical, and for 20 seconds all allies get 30% stats up. It's a nice little pseudo heal of sorts, and it lasts for quite some time as well. Not bad. For her true arts, it does 64,000 dark damage physical, and for 30 seconds increases own damage by 100% and reduces enemies' dark resist by 70%. Not the highest multiplier, but the damage buff and dark resist buff lasting 30 seconds is really good. It's quite the buff and it will allow her to do tons of damage. Really good overall. For her super arts, it does 170,000 dark damage physical. For the duration of the super art, she gets 60% super crit rate. This is insanely strong. 60% super crit with a 170,000 damage multiplier is insane. She's definitely going to be putting out millions per hit, especially when she has her True Art buff active. I'd even say that she's on the same level of DPS as Shalltear or Jay, but that super crit is making me think that she can even out DPS Shalltear. We have to see how well she does exactly, but I think that she does have the chance to be the best solo DPS in the game. But it's just that she doesn't really have the best supports, especially compared to units like Shalltear. For her passives, she increases her crit by 100% when above 50% HP, and reduces her accuracy by 30% if she has a status ailment. She gets 25% attack when above 90% HP, and has 40% poison resist. The passive crit is insane since even with something like Grief, she'll still be able to keep her constant crit. This makes her very self-sufficient. The accuracy down could hurt, but it's whatever. The attack up is pretty nice as well. It's not the highest, but still fairly nice. For her true weapon, it's a 5-star physical with a 50-second CT, and does 8000 dark damage physical. For 10 seconds, it increases own damage by 50%, and if the user is a dark unit, an additional 50% attack. It's a really strong damage buff, especially when paired with her 100% damage from True Art. For the passives, when used by Saber Alter, she increases her own crit damage by 80%, and it has a 5% passive magic resist. The 80% crit damage is huge. This is quite literally needed on her. It almost doubles her damage from True Art and will make her an insanely strong DPS. Definitely worth a pickup if you get her. Overall, Saber Alter is really strong. I'd even wager a guess to say that she's going to be the strongest solo DPS in the game. Compared to units like Fire Orvel or Shalltear, she has a lot more going for her. 180% damage with a true weapon, 70% dark resist debuff, 170,000 damage super arts with 60% super crit, as well as 25% attack to boost her even more. I'm really excited to see her damage, and if she does as much damage as I do think that she may actually be worth a pity. She has pretty much everything that you could want from a unit, especially in regards to endgame. She does a ton of damage, gives herself crit, damage buffs, attack, and her defense slot is pretty much able to solidify that in anything you bring her on, whether with a tank or without one, she's able to make sure that the team stays healthy. And along with that, she also does give herself 80 arts gen on a skill, which for herself would be around 7.2 arts a second, which is pretty much the same amount of arts gauge that Hao gets passively. In all though, they're both really interesting characters. Chloe's pretty good, definitely unique, but she's not worth chasing. And for Saber Alter, I think she's gonna be crazy. She can fit into pretty much any competent team and will absolutely crush content. That's all there is for the kit info though. I'll do the equips when they release. If you like this, I would appreciate a sub. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.